Greetings and salutations to everyone out there watching this video. Thank you so much for tuning in and welcome back to another edition of the Velvet Lounge Life. Yes, today we are going to talk about eBay, what I've been selling, some tips that you can definitely use, especially during these particular times. And also, so that you know that first of all, yes, things are still selling. We have been continuously selling, packaging, mailing out, selling, packaging, mailing out. So what you did not hear in there was buying things to resell. Really haven't done a lot of that. We did some of it, and we've had a few projects, of course, that we worked on. The projects are our favorite because we really don't pay much or pay anything for those items. And we're able to resell them, and along with our partners, which we have a couple. One we haven't heard from in a while, and that was kind of odd. And then suddenly out of the blue, we heard from him. And the gig that he had for us was definitely, we had a similar gig with him previous, I'm going to say maybe 3-4 projects back. And when we went there for that particular project, there was like nothing. There was like an old doctor's bag, which was basically leather, dry rotted. So after trying to clean it up, we couldn't even do anything with it except for throw it away. And we also ended up with this, I think it was a dictionary, or either it was an old Bible from the 1800s, which technically those are only good for arts and crafts. Some Bibles do have value, but they need to be highly decorative, very old, have almost what appears to be handwritten script in them, or be from someone that's incredibly famous, or maybe even infamous. And obviously, you're not going to just like randomly find something like that laying around. So we're not sure what happened with that individual, and it is what it is. But our other partners have been awesome, amazing, as well as, we have said no to a lot of projects. Because you guys know my husband is retiring this year, so he's really just concentrating on that. And it's not even this year, it's in a matter of months now. And then after he retires, we'll probably take a few months to do God only knows whatever, maybe even take longer. And then we'll get back into working with these partners probably a little bit more. But as far as like buying things to resell, we have gone to a citywide or townwide tag sale, which I actually have talked about in a previous video. And if you haven't seen that video yet, it's scheduled and will be coming out. Also, we did go to one of the best flea markets, because that's what we call them here. In other countries, you call them boot sales. And it is fantastic. We always find amazing things there for very, 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 very little money. And we usually meet up with someone there that we didn't know of before, and they usually like give us a call later on if they have any of the things that are on the list that we're looking for. So it's also a great place for you to like make connections. And what else did we do as far as purchasing? Not really. I'm telling you guys, not a lot. And we have a decent inventory, so it's not like we have to constantly go out looking for these things. And as I stated, working with our partners on projects, best way to do it if you can get that kind of relationship. So let's talk about some of the things that have sold thus far. And like I said, many things have sold. I just picked out these things for a couple reasons. 1, buying in bulk, very important. 2, I had so many questions at one point on we have like 3-4 Facebook pages. and I'm a part of several groups, so we had like all these questions about tokens for some reason. So I'm going to like talk about tokens a bit here because they are completely an overlooked area for most resellers. They're looking at them saying, oh, it's not money, or, you know, like it's not a quarter or a dollar piece or a piece of gold or silver or, you know, Jesus's crystal diamond blue eyeball, so it's not worth anything. That's not true. Just because it says it's for just for trade or does not have a monetary value does not mean that a token might not have value. Now, I will add a little disclaimer here. Yes, a lot of tokens have very, 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 very little to no value other than maybe arts and crafts type value or some other type of, you know, someone just simply is a beginning collector and they want to start somewhere, especially if you're doing this with your kids. Awesome place to start. Sorry, I know you heard the chair creaking, but I'm turning on the power because I can see that I will definitely lose power if I don't turn it on. So, yes, we'll talk about tokens and, yeah, and there's some other things on here we'll talk about as well. So let's just start with this absolutely amazing token. Not only is this token amazing because it is a token and it's made of copper, but also it is a misprint. You could tell it's misprinted because when you look at it, you can see that, like where it says good for 5 cents, and it would say in trade. Look at how far off this is. And over here, it almost looks like a baseball. This token sold, I'm going to say like a month ago, I believe. And I'm not looking at the date. So, and I actually have part of this blocked off so that you can remember to subscribe to the Velvet Lounge Life. And this token sold for $44.99 plus the cost of shipping and handling. This is definitely a rare token. The most that I've ever sold a token for was over $100. And it was from some department store in Chicago. I believe that I have in my photo archive. Like when you guys see these photos, some of these I actually keep in an archive. I don't keep all of them. Because I will be doing something hopefully after my husband retires and after 5 or 6 months after that, that you guys will be the first, maybe the second, third to hear of and have an opportunity to partake in. So it's going to be something very different. But anyway, that token, the Chicago department store one, that is definitely in my photo archive. And the way that I ended up getting not just that token, but this one as well as another that you will see in this video and some that you may have seen in my previous resale videos, I went to a giant charity sale and this guy who actually has a side business, he like either will take this stuff to the dump or either he's going to bring it to a flea market and sell it, or he'll do it at, I guess he has 2 or 3 different charity sales, which I don't blame them because those sales are huge, that he takes advantage of. And I had met this guy like at this particular flea market that we sometimes go to, I'm going to say maybe a month previous. And when he saw me, he recognized me, which honestly I'm not hard to miss because of partially how I dress. And he was like, oh, and not to be mean or not to be, I don't know what the words are, but there's other reasons why he would recognize me. And he is like, oh, I remember you and your husband and your daughter. Your daughter was with you. We met at the flea market in this particular part of our state, which is kind of far from where we live. And he's like, I sold you some buttons. And he kind of almost remembered everything he sold me. And the reason he remembered is because it was like the last 20 minutes of the flea market We got in and we did this mad dash around, and he was the one that I spent the most time with and came away with the most merchandise from. And so when he saw me at this charity sale, he's like, I have something for you. And I was like, wait a minute, I bought some tokens from you from the flea market as well. And he's like, yes, you did. And guess what I have? And he went into his truck and he pulled out a pallet of tokens. There must have been like, I don't know, 100 tokens in there. And I was like, why did you put these to the side? Why don't you have them out for sale? He's like, oh, because the kids were just playing in them and it got on my nerves. I had to keep telling them, those aren't toys, or whatever. And I think he was afraid someone would just walk away. And so he's like, are you interested in these? I was like, sure. And so for like $10, I bought approximately maybe a little more than 100 tokens. And this was one of those tokens. So $10, already a $34.99 profit. Plus on my handling fee, I probably made like a couple bucks there as well. So tokens definitely have value. You definitely, want to not pay a lot because you might simply be, buying tokens and they may not have a lot of value. But whatever they're worth to you, that's what you should pay. And then, of course, if he's offering me a $10 deal, I'm not going to really go back and forth on that. And also, he's someone that we've done business with before, and obviously I would like to do business with again. So now we've had 2 transactions with him, and they've both been absolute stunners. So this is a $1 bill. I know. You're like, what's so special about a $1 bill that was issued in 1974? I had to sort of like lean in to really see the date. The date is right here. And what's special about it is this is a misprinted dollar because this border is very skinny and this border is thick. Also, the way the numbers are in this serial number, the 085767 in the center and 85, there's different types of number sequences that people who collect paper money look for. So this is one that has like this repeating sequence, and there's all sorts of names for these various sequences. Sometimes they like, for example, if this number was 085767 and it stopped there, that's a very short serial number. They like that as well. So they like serial numbers that are not long. They like serial numbers that have weird sequences. For example, if this said like 0911 911, that, relates to the date 9/11, which is part of American history now. And so they would like that. So they look for dates. There's so many things, you guys. Definitely do a Google to figure out what are the best paper money numeral combinations, and you will find an entire list with names that you've never heard of before. So I was able to sell a $1 bill for $12.50. And this guy actually made an offer. And then I went back and, we just went back and forth like once. And then it was sold, plus obviously the shipping and handling. Here we have a vintage NRA Rifle Association sharpshooter medal. The way that they do this with the NRA is they have these different competitions for shooting. This happens to be a sharpshooter one, but there are others. And they do award medals. So you get I always like sit there and say, like, where would you wear these medals? Maybe you wear them to the next competition. I don't know. But anyway, and what happens is they add bars. So every time you win or place or whatever, you end up with bars. So this guy was an amazing sharpshooter. I actually know the history of this fellow. He ended up becoming a monk believe it or not. He actually did have active time in the military in a couple conflicts. And apparently after that, he saw the light, and the light had nothing to do with war or guns ever again. And so this sold for $34.99. So this metal was part of the token lot. So it was in there with the tokens. So that's another thing. And if you buy a bunch of tokens, there may be more than just tokens in the token lot. Oh, and this is another thing, because I noticed that a lot of people do this, and when they do this, a couple things happen. One, if you are going to buy a lot of things, just a bunch of things, try your best not to sit or stand there and go through everything that's in the box, the basket, the bag. Try not to do that. I will say this is another thing that may help you. If the items are in Ziploc clear plastic bags, then the person selling them has already gone through them pretty well, and the likelihood of you getting anything amazing is very, very low. You're going to get exactly pretty much what you see. So I usually don't buy lots like that. I'm telling you right now, I can't even tell you the last time, if ever, I bought lots like that. And then the other thing is, if you do find a pallet, a box, a basket, whatever of stuff that you want, or even if it's a really old plastic bag, but you could tell that that plastic bag has lived a life 3-4 times over, that might be an okay plastic bag. Then what you want to do is really base your offer of what you're willing to buy that lot for on what you can see on the top. And then anything else down below that is a bonus. What you can do is, after the person agrees to a number, and I have done this many times, then sort of finger through what's in there very quickly. So this should take you 2-3 minutes. And if you are looking at it and you're like, wait a minute, there's a bunch of trash at the bottom of this, then you haven't paid anything. So you can just, and you could tell them, wait a minute, there's a bunch of just, worthless stuff here at the bottom. And usually what they'll do is they'll take off some of the money. I hate using the word money, but they will take off some of the price. Or they will be like, yeah, but it is what it is, or whatever, and you can walk. So you do have a way out. You are not stuck. You haven't signed a contract, obviously, or anything like that. It's not that serious. But the next thing I have up here is this license plate from 1965 Ford Mustang. It is an original. And this sold for $42.95. I had several license plates that were from this classic car collector. And I still have some classic car stuff that I still have to list and get out there one day. And this was the best of the Ford Mustang license plates that I had. And the others, I think, sold for in the 30s, and one may have sold for $29.99 or $28.99. But this was $42.99 plus that beautiful shipping and handling fee. And yes, you guys, definitely charge handling. eBay is charging you a fee to charge postage because they refuse to do their job of policing people who listed items for 2 cents, but then charged $150 for shipping and handling. And people used to do that because eBay used to not charge you a fee on the shipping and the handling. Also, Etsy used to do the same thing. They did not charge a fee on shipping and handling. Now, it's not just eBay, but Etsy also charges a fee on shipping and handling. So you should be adding a little bit of money. If your item costs $4 for you to ship, let's just say it cost you $4 to ship that item. You charge the buyer $4. You are actually going to pay a fee on $4. So you're going to pay it in order to ship that item. So, and let's just say that you pay 50 cents. I don't know what the exact number is. So you're going to pay $4.50 to eBay because you have to give back the money the person paid for the shipping, and you have to pay eBay a fee simply because you charge shipping. Now, if you do free shipping, then you pay 100% of the shipping cost. And I know that Etsy suggested that sellers take whatever we charge for shipping and add it to the cost of the product. I just don't like that. I feel like it's almost dishonest. And the reason why is because it's not really free shipping. I added it to the cost of the product. And also that can hurt you when you're trying to sell items, because if someone could buy, let's say, a $50 item that you took the time and the love to create, and someone else is also charging $50, and then you're charging $59.99 because it costs $9.99 or whatever to ship it, guess who they're going to buy from? They have two other choices. And that's a reason I use 3 examples. They can look at these 2 other buyers. They can look at their feedback. They can look at how often they sell items. And you are not even in the picture. They have 2 other solid choices to choose from. And even if it was just you and one other person, if that person is decently or okay as far as being established, they're not even like a crazy seller, or they're not, someone who's been on Etsy for 25 years or on eBay for 30 years, they're more likely still to buy from those other people because they're saving $10. So it's something that is not going to go away. It is okay to be honest and show what it cost for your shipping fee. Just make sure it's reasonable, and then add a little bit to it to handle the fee that you have to pay eBay, and to also offset any costs that you have for your packaging. And some people, and I say this with hesitation because I don't do this, but some people are like, oh, I'm also going to charge something for my time. Well, those are people that usually don't have regular sales because their handling fee is like just way too high. So you do want to sort of take everything into consideration and be reasonable. So here's another very unusual token that I acquired. And this one is, it's a masonry base. And I say masonry based because there's a lot of different types of masonry things. And I have to sort of arrow up. It's an antique Masonic chapter token. It's a 1 penny token. And the way that these were issued is that they would represent different areas in the United States, and especially even right down to the towns in those different states and areas in the United States. So you might get one that's like Macon County, or you might get one that's simply Alpharetta, Georgia, or you might get one that's, just representing the state of Florida, for example. But this is a super cool token. I want to say had 5 or 6 of these, and I only have I believe 2 left, maybe 3. I did sell the others, and they definitely sold for, the others sold for I'm going to say $25-ish each. This one sold for $14 even. And also it did have shipping and everything that you see that I've shown you has had shipping and handling on it. So I always make a little tiny bit on the handling part of it. Not much now that eBay has been charging all these fees. And here you guys know my story about buying the bulk of Elks Club pins, buttons, all sort of Elks Clubby things that were small. And I say small because everything was definitely smaller than, I would say, smaller than a playing card for sure. And a lot of them were a lot smaller than that because they were like pin size. So what they would do is they trade these pins. They collect them when they go to the different events and conventions, etc., meetups that they have. And I just posted this one, even though I sell these things all the time because I have so many and I have to list some more of them at some point. The good thing is when you're listing these, you kind of just power through it and list like 30 of them at a time because they're small, easy to take a picture of. You only need 2 pictures, the back, the front without the little pin holder on it, and you use the same template and just change the words as far as the lodge, what it features. This one features the Flintstones, which is super cute. And if this one was one that had anything to do with the state that I'm from, I probably would have kept this one to use in a project that I have that has videos coming out soon on that as well. It's a super cool project. You guys are going to love it, I think. I hope you do. But this sold for $12.99, so that's a lot to sell just this little tiny pin for. And then you can see the date. It's 2008 to 2009, so it's not vintage. It's not obviously an antique, but it's something that's interesting. And of course, the Flintstones are fun. And here's the last item that I will show you. And the reason I'm showing you this item is for a few reasons. I wanted to quickly talk about cross collectibles. Cross collectibles are items that can go over a variety of collecting categories. This one is sterling silver. It's jewelry. It's men's jewelry. It has to do with chimney sweeping, which is weird. So the trades, if you will. And also it's European. So that's 5 areas, and I'm pretty sure if you wanted to, you could come up with a couple more areas. So down in the comments, please do me a favor and let me know of any other areas you could think of that this item could actually be considered a cross collectible in, because I don't know all the areas. Those are the areas that I used. In this case, this item sold for $34.99. And surprisingly, I thought this would go overseas, especially to the United Kingdom, but it stayed in the United States. And it's 800 parts silver, and that's a European, it has a European silver mark on it. And there are ways that you can identify American marks versus European marks and other foreign silver marks. So that's an area that you guys should definitely look into. And if you want me to talk about that more in a future video, I can definitely show you some of those marks. Just leave comments down below. And if I get 10 or more comments, I will do a video on it for you and show you the actual marks so you know what they look like. So thank you guys so much for tuning in to the Velvet Lounge Life. Remember that your health is your wealth. Without your health, you have absolutely nothing. Please click on the subscribe button. Remember, we have a contest, not a contest, but a giveaway coming up. Whereas all you have to do is leave a comment on any of my videos, be a subscriber, and click the thumbs up, and you will be entered. And you are going to receive one of 2 amazing prize gifts that I'm giving away, and you will hear about in the future video. And that contest or drawing actually ends August 10th, 2021. So thank you for tuning in, and be well.